All right, picture this. It's 1995. You're a successful businessman in New York. What do you drive? You drive a BMW 7 Series, or maybe a Mercedes S-Class. Or if you're one of the hipper, cool rich guys, you have a Lexus LS400. Now picture this. It's 2012. You're still a successful businessman. You have a nice family. You're middle-aged, but you still want to be hip and cool, and you're with the environment. You get it. What do you buy? You buy the brand new Tesla Model S because that's the new hot luxury sedan. It can fit your family, it's economical, it's fancy, it's expensive. But what about in 2022? Tesla's seen a little bit differently than it was back then. In 2012, if you saw a Model S on the road, that was an early adopter and they spent top dollar on that car. But now that this car's been out for 10 years, you can find some of these for in the 20 grand range. So is there still the prestige to the Tesla name? If you live in California like I do, Teslas are a dime a dozen. You turn your head, you see one. It's just like seeing any other normal car at this point. So it's hard to really think of them as flashy, exotic cars like they were 10 years ago. I'm going to show you firsthand what the modern used Tesla looks like. This is a 2019 Model S 75D. It has about 44,000 miles on it, and the kicker is, its whole life, it's been an enterprise rental car. Alright, so here's something weird. I was driving along, all of a sudden my screens just froze. I'm parked, I just pulled up to the supercharger, and obviously I'm not going 42 miles an hour, and when I put my turn signal on, obviously it flashes, but there's no noise. You can't hear it, there's nothing. We have no noise for the hazards. The screen is still stuck at the backup camera from when I had it running while I was on the road. Very weird, very peculiar. My Bluetooth unpaired too. I has had navigation going and my phone started talking through itself and not through the car. So very weird enterprise rental car with almost 44,000 miles. Oh, and it just shut off. The car did automatically open the charge port though. I did have navigate to supercharger on, but I've never seen it open automatically before. That's very weird. Let's see if it will take a charge. Turn blue. It's making the connection. It's charging. But there's still nothing going on in the screen. So I'm gonna go pick up my DoorDash order and I'll see what happens when I get back. Oh, look at that. Something's going on in there. It'll figure itself out. Big charge, my phone paired back up. We have the sound effect again for that. This all seems to be normal again, so I guess that was just a weird little glitch, but oh well. So this is the modern Tesla in its natural habitat. It's got some scratches, it's got some dents, it's got some curved wheels, it's dirty on the inside. Obviously the handles still work, but you know, it's not clean, it's not, you know, what it was when it was new, this fancy, unobtainable object. It's now a normal, everyday car, and a used car at that. So what is all this hype about seeing everybody with these cars on the road? Are they all fooled by Elon? Or is there substance to back up the claim that these are the best cars in the world? Well, here are my thoughts. I've had this car for about a week now. I got my Model 3 delivered. It had some imperfections, so it's at the Tesla store right now getting the panel gaps fixed. So in the meantime, I got this enterprise rental car of Model S. I had never driven a Model S before, but growing up, my whole kind of teenage life, this car existed, and it was always super cool, the cutting edge of technology, the future in a car. It was like Iron Man created it. It was amazing. And to drive this car, I'm honestly a little disappointed compared to my Model 3. Don't get me wrong, as far as rental cars go, this car is amazing. It's got some power. I don't have to pay for gas because Enterprise is covering the electricity charge at the supercharger. I can zip around in corners. The air suspension's fun to play with. But the Model S is an older car. It came out in 2012, and it really hasn't, other than software updates on the screen, it hasn't changed too much fundamentally from what it was 10 years ago. And some of that shows in the driving dynamics. When I first got this car, it was set up in the creep mode, where it acts like a normal automatic car as it will kind of creep forward, and the regenerative braking was very low, which is weird because in my Model 3 I have in hold mode, because I love how when it will just come to a stop by itself, it will hold itself there. This car has that feature, but it's a bit clunkier than mine. It will actually roll back, where my Model 3 does not roll back. This car is also a little bit bigger, a little bit heavier than my Model 3. It's not too noticeable, but my dual motor Model 3 definitely is a little bit quicker than this one. But that's not really a mark against this car, it's just something I've noticed. Another gripe I have is the interior of this car. This was originally a $75,000 car, and this feels like vinyl. This doesn't feel like real leather. The only real leather that it feels like in this car is actually the airbag cover. This feels like legitimate leather, and maybe this too, but this is pretty worn out. But all of this feels like fake leather. I mean, it's nice, it feels good, but it just doesn't have that same kind of quality that like an S-Class leather would have, or a BMW M car leather has. It just feels a little bit cheaper. And back to the door panel, these are switches from a Mercedes. Any Mercedes pick one, these are the same switches. And I know that because at night, this has the same yellow interior color that every Mercedes has, even though these buttons on here are white at night. Look at this. Nice white light there. Yellow Mercedes switches. Why? Which is like, why would I spend so much money for this car when they can't even get all the switches to match the same color at night? I also have found this center console really annoying. I've been using this car to do DoorDash in, and it's really frustrating needing to slide the armrest out of the way if I'm coming in with a bunch of cups and I forget to leave it out. It's really annoying. Also, another issue with the interior on this car. A $75,000 car, and it has cloth seats with what feels like vinyl. I mean, I will say it has held up very well for 44,000 miles of being a rental car. There's no wear at all, so props to them for making this durable. But there's a little bit of a ripping here, and just cloth seats, what? Another thing I don't like about this Model S is that it takes so much longer to charge than my Model 3 does. This is a smaller battery, and it takes so much longer to charge because it's only charging at 87 kilowatts. And this is on a version 3. It's kind of hard to read up there, but it's a 250 kilowatt charger. That's a 150 over there. This is the version 3 250 at the Fremont factory. And this charges so much slower than my Model 3. I haven't seen more than 350 miles an hour on this thing, where my Model 3 would charge at over 1,100 miles an hour. So this kind of sucks. I do like this center display on the Model S. I like having the map there. It's really nice to have the turn-by-turn navigation on the display in front of you, because sometimes the big map doesn't always default to turn-by-turn. Sometimes it does like a top-down map view, and it's facing the opposite direction of where you're driving, and it's really annoying. But this is nice. I can just glance there. It shows me exactly where I need to go. It's really nice. And if I want to do my volume, that's there, and I have my standard pause like that on the regular Model 3. But something that the Model 3 does not have that this does have is with the other wheel. Look at that, I can control my temperature. Reminds me, just like on my Prius, I had the temperature controls on the steering wheel. That was great, and I can push the knob to turn it off or on. And then if I'm not in this menu, I can push it. So I can push the items, and I can change what the different things are on the scroll wheel. And that is honestly brilliant. I wish I could do that on my Model 3, and I can't. But I must say, just like any electric car, driving it on a back road like this out here in this beautiful countryside in the Bay Area, California, it's amazing driving an electric car. I drove my my RAV4 up to the mountains after driving this car, and I was amazed at how much speed I could not carry in the RAV4 compared to the Tesla. It just eats up speed. You can go so much faster. It just feels like magic. I mean, it really does. It just absorbs all the bumps with the air suspension. It has quick acceleration with the electricity, and the regenerative braking means that you don't really have to use the brake pedal that much, and I can kind of rely on the car slowing itself down the moment I need to come to a stop. I don't also have to worry about cooking my brakes going downhill as much, because I can just rely on the regen braking. It's way stronger than any engine braking I've ever felt. I've had manual cars, I've had different automatics. The engine braking that you get with this, with the motor spinning backwards as it recharges the battery, is way stronger, and it's so nice on a back road. This is what I mean about going downhill in an electric car. I just lift off the gas and it slows down. And this is a steep hill. This is real steep. If I was in any other car, I'd be flying down here right now. And I can if I give it gas, but if I completely lift off, look at that. I just slow right down. And this is really steep, like real steep. I would not want to walk up this. And it's just so effortless. It just slows down to a stop. No brakes needed, no, not getting the rotors hot, not warping any rotors. Another annoying thing with this car is that the frunk is not nearly as big as the one in my Model 3, which was surprising because I'd never seen under the hood of an all-wheel drive Model S, because the original rear-wheel drive Model S had a massive trunk. It would go way farther back and even go under the windshield. It was huge. But since this is all-wheel drive, there's a motor up here and it's pretty small. The one in my Model 3 actually has a little bit bigger space. I've been able to fit a full pizza box in the front of my Model 3, and you just cannot do that in here. And this is also carpeted, but it's just like kind of thin, cheap carpet, and I'd hate to get this stained with anything food related when I do DoorDash. Or compared to my Model 3, I've spilled things in it. It's plastic, it's not an issue. So overall, if you've never had an electric car and you want to get into one and you don't want to break the bank, a used Model S is a great option. You get access to the supercharging network. It's still a fast car. It's nice. There's not that much maintenance on it. But if you're not looking for your first EV, but you're looking for your second EV, I honestly recommend the Model 3 over the Model S, because it's just being a newer car, a newly designed car. It has much more advancements in the technology that just make the car more seamless. And honestly, I'm a big interior guy. As you know from my previous cars, I've had some Lexuses and I've loved their fancy interiors. And honestly, I kind of like the interior in the 3 more, which is weird because I really did not expect to like the starkness of being no buttons and just a screen and that's it. But I don't know, it's simple in the Model 3. It's easy. Once you get used to it, it's just, I guess it's one of those cult things. Once you try it, you never go back, but it's pretty good. So in today's day and age, who's to tell? Is the person driving the Tesla next to you a millionaire, a thousandaire, a hundredaire, or maybe it's not even their car? But either way, they're probably having a good time. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed learning the ins and outs of this Tesla that I had rented here. And stay tuned for future content. I definitely am going to be doing more stuff with my Tesla Model 3. And sadly, yes, I did have to sell my GXs for this car. If you saw my previous update video, I sold all my cars to get my Model 3. But more to come with the Model 3. There's definitely some cool stuff with that car. Thank you.